Why Marvel's Thunderbolts worked where Captain America Brave New World failed. I remember walking into the theater for Captain America Brave New World with this glimmer of hope in my eyes. Fresh popcorn in hand, I was ready for what they promised. A spy thriller that could recapture the magic of Winter Soldier. By the time I walked out, that light had completely faded and I couldn't even figure out why. Look, I'll be straight with you, I didn't expect much from Thunderbolts. The trailers looked generic, I was burned out from recent Marvel disappointments, and I literally planned to wait for it to hit streaming. Meanwhile, Brave New World had everything going for it on paper. Spy thriller vibes, Harrison freaking Ford as President Ross, and the chance to see Sam Wilson really step into Steve Rogers' shoes. But sometimes the movies you don't expect anything from are the ones that surprise you the most. So what went wrong with one and so right with the other? But before that, let me take you back to where this all started. Not to sound too old, but I remember when Phase 3 was happening. I didn't miss a single Marvel movie in theaters. My yearly highlight was always the next Marvel release. From Phase 1 through Phase 3, every movie was good, even the ones people didn't like Thor: The Dark World. I'd still buy a ticket for it if they played it in theaters today. But something changed after that. Recent projects started burning me, one disappointment after another. So when Captain America Brave New World was marketed as a spy thriller, I kept my expectations in check. I just wanted to have a good time, maybe get a Winter Soldier type experience, which is still my favorite Marvel movie, followed by Civil War. So there I was sitting in that theater, popcorn ready, trailer had looked good. I was cautiously optimistic. But by the end of the movie, I was left with this bitter taste in my mouth, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't the popcorn. The movie had everything it needed to be a great spy thriller, yet somehow it had nothing at all. I couldn't even put my finger on what went wrong. That wasn't until I watched Thunderbolts. Before I go further, I want to know what you think in the comments. Did Captain America Brave New World leave a bitter taste in your mouth too? Also, if you like what I'm doing here, hit that subscribe and like button with the notifications on so you can get more of my future videos. It won't take much time of yours, but it will help me a lot. And we can build a community of cinephiles and talk about movies. Thunderbolts didn't impress me with its trailers. Maybe it was the after effect of getting burned so many times, but I didn't engage with any of the marketing like I used to. I'd made up my mind. This was going to be another generic movie I'd catch on streaming, which was a huge mistake, because my God, did I love this movie. And that's when it hit me. What was missing from Brave New World was exactly what Thunderbolts nailed perfectly. See, Brave New World had everything on paper. Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson trying to fill Steve Rogers' shoes, Harrison freaking Ford playing President Ross, a solid premise about a man without superpowers proving he's worthy of being Captain America. But here's the problem. The movie forgot about Sam Wilson halfway through. I'm not kidding. The film got so busy juggling geopolitics, adamantium, Red Hulk, Serpent Society, and other plots I can barely remember that Sam stopped driving his own story. Compare that to Winter Soldier. That movie had Hydra, political conspiracy, the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., Bucky's reveal, tons of moving pieces. But here's the difference. Every single plot point revolved around Steve Rogers. His relationship with Bucky drove the emotional core. His crisis of faith was the heart of the conspiracy. Hydra represented everything Steve thought he'd defeated coming back to corrupt the institution he trusted. Steve was actively investigating, making choices, driving the story forward. When he decided to bring down S.H.I.E.L.D., it wasn't because the plot demanded it. It was because Steve Rogers had to make that impossible choice between loyalty and doing what's right. In Brave New World, it felt like Sam was just being shuffled around by the script. Go here, Sam. Fight this, Sam. Now deal with Red Hulk, Sam. There's no personal stake because it didn't feel like he was making real choices, just reacting to whatever the movie needed him to do next. In Winter Soldier, when Steve throws the shield away and chooses to save Bucky instead of fighting him, that moment hits because we've been building to it for 2 hours. In Brave New World, I honestly can't tell you what Sam Wilson's big character moment was supposed to be. Maybe it was when he No, I got nothing. Thunderbolts should sound way less exciting, right? A group of anti-heroes sent on a mission to kill each other, then team up to fight a guy's literal depression through the power of family. Sounds like the kind of plot you'd pitch after staying up too late watching Fast and Furious movies. But the execution was flawless, and I mean that sincerely. Each character was given purpose. The actions drove the plot forward, and because the plot was simple enough to follow, revolutionary concept, I know, we actually got time to focus on character development. Yelena's growth, Red Guardian's journey, Sentry's struggle, Bucky's guilt, US Agent's arc, it all felt natural and earned, and you can get behind it when they reveal them to be the new Avengers. Honestly, the side characters in Captain America Brave New World were so forgettable and had no impact at all. The new Falcon, Sabra, the Serpent Society's head, it was kind of painful how little they brought to the story. Like, I'm sitting there watching Joaquin Torres as the new Falcon, and yeah, he's fine, but he's just there. Sabra shows up, does some stuff, and I couldn't tell you one memorable thing about her character or why I should care about her. The Serpent's leader? I literally had to think for a minute to even remember who that was. These characters felt like they were just checking boxes. Oh, we need a new Falcon for the future, throw him in. We need some international conflict, add Sabra. We need villains, here's Serpent Society. But none of them felt like real people with actual motivations or personalities that stuck with you. Compare that to Thunderbolts, where every single character, even the ones with less screen time, felt distinct and memorable. You've got Red Guardian being this lovable, ego-driven father figure. Ghost has her own thing going on. Even characters who don't get huge arcs still feel like they have personality and purpose in the story. They're not just there to fill a role. They're there because they add something unique to the team dynamic. My last point, the villains. You have the leader, this build-up from the Incredible Hulk, a smart guy with so much story potential. I even like some of the things they initially went with, the mind control and all, but it was so wasted just to set up Red Hulk, which again, Red Hulk wasn't bad, but if they hadn't put him in the trailer. I was literally waiting for him to show up, and when that scene came, it felt bland. Maybe that's partly my fault for watching the trailer, but there was so much more you could have done with that reveal. The leader had all this intelligence, all this potential for psychological warfare and mind games, but the movie just used him as a plot device to get us to the Red Hulk fight. When the team stands up to the Void and tells Bob they believe in him, it hits different, because we've all been there, you know? We've all had those moments where we needed someone to believe in us when we couldn't believe in ourselves. Thunderbolts reminds me why I used to get excited walking into Marvel movies. It understood all the spectacle in the world means nothing without characters you actually care about. You can blow up as many cities as you want, but if you don't care about the people in them, you're just showing me really expensive fireworks. I walked into Brave New World with hope and walked out questioning everything. I walked into Thunderbolts expecting nothing and walked out remembering why I fell in love with these stories in the first place. It's funny how the movie you don't expect anything from can remind you what you've been missing. I'm sure there are more points, but these are some that come on top of my head on why I felt Thunderbolts was a superior movie compared to Brave New World. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you have the same experience with these movies? Am I completely off base here, or did something stand out to you? Maybe you love Brave New World and think I'm being too harsh, and maybe Thunderbolts didn't click for you the way it did for me. And this is my first such commentary. So if you're interested in more movie breakdowns and reviews, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It will give me the motivation to keep blabbering on about movies. And honestly, we need more spaces where we can just talk about what works and what doesn't without getting too caught up in the hype machine. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.